My name is Kevin King. I'm here with
Eric Francello.
Francello, and today we're going to talk about the subject of Kratom. Kratom is a controversial subject in the recovery community. A lot of people don't understand what it is. Kratom is a leaf that is from Southeast Asia, mainly from Thailand. It has a effect of more of in a low dose. It has more of a, what would you say, a
Stimulant effect, yeah.
effect all the way through.
Yeah,
Even on a low
speedy.
dose. Okay.
Yeah.
So with more of a stimulant effect that has an opioid effect because there actually is opioid in kratom. What they do is they highly concentrate it. They put it in powders. They put it in pills. And some people do use it, right, Eric, for help them with opiate dependency.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen it be a replacement for like Oxycontin and stuff like that.
Okay, so they're using and then you just move on to kratom.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
how about what does it help with use, like if they're trying to get off of an opioid?
Yeah. Actually, I know quite a few people who used it to get off of like Suboxone, or they used it to calm the withdrawals of opiates. Also for alcohol. A lot. I've known some people to use it as a replacement for alcohol, and it would work for them,
So it works for some people. So that's the controversy here. What are the effects of it? Of course, the FDA has not approved it. In fact, they tried to make it a Schedule 1, saying there was harm and that there's been overdoses. It actually has gone, I don't know if you know this, but it went from 0.5% of total overdoses to 2% in the last few years. And I believe with 1.6 million people using it now, the more people that use it, we could see more overdoses and severe withdrawal come from
I'm
it.
sure.
Yeah, so what we're going to do today is we're going to get to know Eric. So, Eric, just give us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Yeah. So my name's Eric Francello. I was born and raised at the Jersey Shore, Monmouth County. I come from a household or a family, so to speak, of where addiction and mental health ran rampant. On both sides of the family. So I wasn't naive to it. I saw what it did. But both my parents, did the best they could with what they had, and I can't say they did a terrible job. I think they did way better at raising their kids than some would, So, I give them a lot of credit for that. I always had what I needed, but I always felt some sort of, like, I always felt like there was something missing in my life. I always felt like incomplete, no matter from as long as I can remember. Like, I just remember, like, I felt like I didn't fit into this world, like it wasn't meant for me, and I was always like kind of searching for outlets of like to relieve that hole inside of me. I was born with severe health problems. I have long QT syndrome, it's called. Okay. So I was born like 3 months premature, and I had to get a pacemaker defibrillator put in later in life. So, like, I was always different. Like, I couldn't play sports. I couldn't go to sleepovers. I couldn't go outside and play with the other kids because it was very new at the time. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of restrictions on what I could and couldn't do. So, like, I just always felt like I just didn't fit in anywhere.
Okay.
So I eventually, like, as I got a little bit older, I started gravitating towards, like, more and more chaos in my life because I was kind of used to it. And I want to say I thrive in chaos. Mm-hmm. So I eventually discovered, like, that a lot of the kids in school were drinking and were smoking pot. So I was like, okay, that's what I need to do as well.
Right. So to fill that void.
Yeah, okay. And kind of like just that would not only just to fill the void, but it made me feel like we have something in common. You're doing this thing and I'm doing it too. So, and like I discovered music at a really young age, and I learned to play guitar, self-taught, which like made me feel like almost like I had something that not everyone did, and that filled the void, but not for long, you know. I definitely started seeking external solutions for my internal issues.
Okay. Now, when it comes to the kratom use, I know we talked earlier about. I used to run a program. I was a provider in South Florida, and a lot of the recovery community was going to kava bars, and there was the kava drink, and then kratom came in. One they said was like an opiate effect, the other had like a benzo effect. What was your introduction, and how did you find out about kratom?
Yeah, so a little background there. I had gotten sober for the first time, or clean, whatever, you know, whatever floats your boat. I started my recovery journey in 2017, right? And from 2017 until about late 20 or mid 2019, I was on the straight and narrow. And I was actually around this general area. I forget the town, but I had read about kratom online, and all I'd read that it made you feel good. So I didn't really know much about it, and I went to this. It was a kratom bar, and I walked in. For some reason, something just possessed me to walk into that kratom bar with 2.5 years sober. And I don't know why I did it. I just was so interested in it. So I pulled in and I walked in and I started talking to the bartender, whatever you want to call it. And she started talking to me about it. And I was like, what is this stuff? And she explained it to me exactly. It was a leaf from, Southeast Asia that monks use for mental wellness and a clear mind, and it was a cousin of caffeine. Okay. So it sounded harmless to me, right? Sure. I drink coffee, I drink energy drinks, and I drank it in a tea, and mine also had kava mixed in it at the time. Okay. And I was like, am I good to drive? That was the first question I asked her. I was like, am I good to drive? And she was like, yeah, you'll be fine. You'll notice it in about 15, 20 minutes. So I left. And within a half hour, I live about an hour and a half from here. So within 30 minutes of that hour drive, I felt this like relief that was very familiar to me. It was almost like this sense of like content. I just, my car could have flipped over and I wouldn't have cared. I just felt so at ease again. And the minute I felt that, I made a U-turn, and I was like, I gotta buy more of this stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you turned right around.
I turned right around, yeah, and I bought an ounce of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now you go home with it?
I go home with it, right? And at first it was harmless, I was just making it into a tea in the morning. And I would just start my day with it. And I would go throughout the day, and I was focused, and I was productive. I was...
Hold on 1 second. Yeah. That's that alarm going off. I got to go turn it off. Sorry, I had to turn the alarm off. Sorry about that.
All right. It's all right. All right. No, so it was... it was super harmless. I was drinking 1 cup a day of it. And I was just like firing on all cylinders, like I was super productive. I was focused. I was just like getting things done. And I was like, I found the cheat code, this stuff. It's not breaking my sobriety because it's essentially caffeine. The justification that I was telling myself, right. I'm not getting high. Right. I'm just, I'm just using a wellness mix, or what do they call
supplement?
Them? Yeah, it's supplement. Yeah, I'm using a supplement. So this went on for, I don't know, maybe 6 months. And in the beginning of 2020, I dealt with a lot of loss. And then from that loss, and like through grief, we jumped right into COVID. And that's when things started getting like really ugly. Okay. Yeah, definitely started getting really ugly.
With ugly, can you explain what that is?
Yeah. So somebody had told me about extracts. So there's powdered form and then there's the extract form. Right now there's even higher levels of it, but I got out right in time, thankfully, and I don't want to go back. But there is extracts, and what that is essentially like the synthetic form of it. So they take the stuff that gets you the feeling of contentment and just drain it out, so you're just drinking that.
So what I've read, and tell me if I'm wrong,
Sure.
is that they take the leaves and they concentrate the opioid
Yep.
out of kratom.
That's exactly what happens. Yep. And it was like $15 a shot, so I had tried that, and I mean it rocks me to my core. I mean, I was like, all right, this is it. And within like I would say a week, I was burning through like $100 a day, just keeping it going nonstop. I needed one to get up. I needed two to get through the day. I needed another two to put myself down. Like it was nonstop. And at this time, I'm juggling all the gifts of sobriety. Right. I have this great girl at the time, and like I'm making great money, and like I'm just in a good place, and I'm just like a shell of a human being. You know, it sucked the life out of me really quick.
So, in your experience, were there other people in recovery that you know that were also using kratom?
I had separated myself from recovery because I knew what I was doing was
isolating
wrong.
just like any other addiction.
Yes,
Okay.
I knew what I was doing was wrong, and I was too afraid to show face.
Wow.
So I didn't tell anyone, and then when I did go back, I just didn't tell anyone what I was doing, you know, because I was justifying it. I was like, it's just kratom. I'm buying it from a gas station. Like, it's not like I'm using my drug of choice. It's not. I have all my outside life is still manageable.
Right.
But in reality, I was dying on the inside, and like these things were slowly starting to fall apart, you know. But it took a while before they did, and it sucked the life out of me, man.
So how would you compare it to, like you said, you came into recovery in 2017 and got clean? Up until that point, you know, what made you get clean? Is there similarities that you're finding right now when you're doing the kratom in 2020 that is similar to, say, the addiction to opioids?
This was way worse.
Worse.
This was way worse, yes. I never hit a bottom like I did through kratom.
Okay,
Never.
So can you explain what that bottom was
Yeah,
like?
absolutely. I mean, so it started with just like depression, and I couldn't shake it off. And in my mind, I was like, look, I'm just having a bad couple of days. Like, it will pass. But then days turn to months, and then months turns to a year. I mean, this is a 3-year process that this is going on. So I eventually, like, become just a zombie. And all these things start to fall apart in my life. You know, the girl eventually has had enough. Our relationship goes to hell. And then, like, I'm like, I know what's wrong with me. I need to change my job. So I start taking these like really shady jobs because like that's what I think is going to fix me. That's the problem. It's my job. So I start taking these like shady sales jobs that like are in call centers and they're scam call centers, and like that's not spiritually fit. I'm even unhappier in that position. But I'm still hanging on to this kratom because the kratom can't be the problem. It's everything else.
Sure.
So I just keep going down this rabbit hole of kratom, and I would get some time together. I would come off of it for a couple of days, and then like my body's my brain would just bring my body to this gas station, and I still drive by this gas station all the time, and I always point at him, I gave everything away to that gas station.
Wow.
You know, like it's like my one last resentment that I'll never let go of, and it's all on me, don't get me wrong, but like it became my obsession, and became my higher power. It became the only thing that mattered to me. I could not get through the day without it. And I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning if I didn't have it, and I would set an alarm and literally drive to the gas station at 5 in the morning just to go get my fix, just so I could stay asleep for a couple more hours.
So the similarities to addiction with drugs is there's really no difference.
No, there's no difference whatsoever in my experience.
Yeah,
You know what I
course,
mean?
of course.
And then eventually it turned to mania. I developed pure mania. Like, I'm talking like I'm going on Amazon and spending $1,000 at a hit. I'm At one point I thought I needed to go buy a house with no money. Like, I was just doing all these crazy absurd things where in the moment it made sense, but I look back and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, it was pure mania. And I'm trying to maintain this life that no longer exists because it fell apart because of my use. And it's long gone. It's long in the distance. So I'm dealing with the grief of that as well.
Right.
So at that point, I'm like, it went from depression to mania to pure suicidal tendencies. I mean, I tried taking my life multiple times, without success, thank God.
Yes.
But in reality, like, I didn't want to die. I just wanted this version of me to die.
Right.
So I ended up finally checking myself into, what's that, Seabrook? Like right down the road.
Yep.
Yeah, it's right down the road. I went there for detox, and then from there I went to Discovery Institute
Okay, excellent. Great place.
for treatment. But then even after that, like, I was like in between detox to Discovery, I still was like, no, I need this. I can't do life without this. So I in between that time from going from one place to another, I stopped. I grabbed as many as I could, and because I just didn't want to let it go.
You know, it's amazing because you're not alone.
Yeah.
There's many people. In fact, I have a nephew that started Kratom, and as it was like lighter, and as it's got stronger with the opioid concentration, and now he's been in and out of mental hospitals. He's homeless. He was a very productive member of society, and the sad thing is, a lot of people, thank God Seabrook and Discovery was willing to treat.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know what to do when it comes to treatment. What was the form of treatment for Kratom?
Opioid, just like any other opioid.
opioid.
Yeah, I did personally. I did Suboxone maintenance for my first year, because I would not have been able to do it without it. It was such a beast that I did Suboxone, and then I did Sublocade.
Excellent.
Three Sublocade shots.
Yeah, I mean, I think people don't understand. Even when someone overdoses on Kratom, they use Narcan.
Yeah.
And so the people think it's opposite of an opioid, but it is an opioid.
Yeah.
And some people try to say, well, it's an antagonist, like methadone. Well, anything's an antagonist because your body creates opioid, and now this just intensifies it. But with the high concentration, there seems to be not much difference between heroin and Kratom. Do you agree with that?
I wholeheartedly agree with it. It definitely, it's just, it's like comparing apples to oranges. They're both fruit, but they're just a little different.
Yeah, so what do you say about things where people will say, the FDA will say it's got to be eliminated, but yet it's still, you can go to 7-Eleven, you can go to gas stations. Nobody's enforcing this law, and even some college basketball teams actually advertise it now.
Really?
Kratom. Yet the DEA, the FDA is saying this is dangerous substance, but nobody's doing nothing.
Well, here's the thing. Because of that, so the thing is now they're pushing it in these wellness drinks. I realized.
Yes.
They have these feel free, or like you'll see them all over the place.
That's what it's called, the one feel free.
Yeah, the ones feel free, and then if you notice this time of month, right, January especially, they really push it for dry January. Wow. Because they see a lot of people aren't drinking, and they use it as an alcohol alternative, or like a social alternative.
Right.
Because at first that's what it does. Yeah. And then people get hooked up on it. The feel free is mixed with kava, so it's both. And it's just very, very dangerous. Now, what I say to that is just be careful. I mean, it's very similar to the opioid epidemic. No one really knew what was happening, right? Like it seemed harmless. Like, oh, a doctor
Sure.
is prescribing me these things, and then next thing you know, you're shooting heroin and you lose everything.
Yeah, I mean, when to the point does somebody do kratom and then say, "I'll just go get heroin"?
Soon,
Yeah,
soon, if
yeah.
it's not happening already. So I actually am seeing it now more than I was when I was using it. No one knew what it was when I was using it.
Right.
I remember people looking at me like, what was that? And I
Yeah.
would just say, oh, it's my energy shot. Because I'm not going to tell them,
Yeah.
you know, I'm getting high again, but it was essentially my energy shot. One of my close friends, my very good friends, he is just coming out of he was using 7-hydroxy, which is the purest form now
Yes.
that you can get. He came to me and said, hey, I have a problem with this stuff. And he didn't understand how I got hooked up on it, but he had a knee injury. And his doctor was the one that said, hey, try Kratom.
Wow.
And within 3-4 months, I mean, he almost lost his house. His house almost went to foreclosure because he's buying these things out. He's on disability. He's not working, so he's stuck in the house with a knee surgery. He can't work, and he's stuck at home. So he just starts building a dependence, and he was.
And so one of the things with kratom, sorry to interrupt, but it helps with pain. I've seen videos where people will get hit with a stick, then they'll take the kratom, somebody will hit them with a stick, and they don't feel a thing. So it has the same effect as somebody who's doing it.
Because it just numbs you out. You know, like it really numbs your feelings. It numbs everything. And like, it didn't do that for me at first. It like amplified it. And then very quickly it turned on me. Like nothing turned on me as quick as Kratom did. But nothing for me personally was as hard. And I quit everything cold turkey essentially. Like I've been hooked up on every substance there is. And nothing was as hard to get off of than Kratom.
So it's amazing. You got this mind of recovery with a monkey on your back and feeling it's worse than any other drug you've ever done.
Hands down, for me. I
I
speak
hear
from
you.
my
I hear
experience,
you.
you know. It was incredibly hard. You know, like I say, you know, for some folks, I do know successful stories with it where people have gotten off of years of opioid medication, and now they have that tea in the morning, and they're good. They're good for the day. They no longer have to take 5 oxys throughout the day, you know.
Right. So would you say, so is it addictive personality? Because like, I mean, to me, it's still an opioid. So, for example, with heroin, 72 hours, an average person can have a dependency, an opioid dependency. So even though it's an addiction, do you believe, too, that there's a dependency that you can develop?
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. I mean, it just makes you feel good, and who doesn't want to feel good?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially in this day and age.
Right.
You know?
Right. With everything going on.
Life is stressful, man.
So what would you say to somebody, say a kid or an athlete that is being told that this is an alternative? What would you tell them?
That it's not an alternative. It's just packaged differently.
It's just packaged differently.
Yeah, it's not an alternative. It's the same thing.
I mean, it's amazing when you go to 7-Eleven. They have huge tubs, almost like what you take for like weight gain.
Yeah.
Big, giant, concentrated.
Yeah. Giant
Kratom.
bags of it. And it's cheap. It's not that expensive either, you know, which is another thing. It's not, and it's not like you're saying, oh, I'm doing heroin, you know. You're like, oh, I'm taking Kratom.
Well, they also, I saw when I was at the store, somebody, what's that product again? They were
Feel Free.
Feel Free. People in front of me were buying a bunch of Feel Free, and I asked them what it was, and they were like, oh, it's no big deal. That's what the person selling it was.
Right.
But they were so excited to get this like they were buying any other kind of drug.
And what a lot of these stores are doing is giving out free samples.
Wow.
They'll be like, here,
just
try
like
this.
a dealer would on the street.
They know.
Try this.
Yeah, try this. Yep.
And just like you said, your experience was you went and tried it the first time, started heading home, and just took a U-turn. And then dependency
And then
starts.
I found out I can just get it online, which was a whole other.
So just ordering it online.
Yeah. It was crazy. And at one point I stocked up on it because I was like, this stuff is too good to be true. They're definitely going to make this illegal soon. So I had a whole bunch in my garage, I remember.
Wow.
before I finally dumped it. But then I had moved on to the extracts. Like the leaf, it's just like anything else. Like I went from the leaf to the extracts to where the leaf was doing nothing for me anymore.
building up that tolerance.
So I just was like giving it to my friends for them to try and get addicted to. Like it was a hell. It was hell. It was the roughest 5 years, I would say, and I'm still bouncing back from it. Like my mind is fine. It wasn't until April of this year. I just celebrated 2 years in October.
Nice.
Of nothing, of no Suboxone or anything like that. But my mind I just started to feel like myself again.
Wow, after 2 years.
After I took a good 2 years.
Wow, Eric, it's amazing. For people watching this, that we talked briefly a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
You were willing to work all day, travel an hour and a half to get this message out. And I think it's a message that needs to be said because, healthcare workers, the majority of people do not know. Parents at home, those working in prevention, have no idea what this substance can do to somebody.
They're gonna learn quick. It's out there. We right now. I feel like we're in the midst where it hasn't. The consequences really haven't hit yet.
Right.
But they're coming because, especially if they pull it.
Well, here's the reality. Some will argue that are pro Kratom, that the overdosers are with other substances.
Right.
According to the studies, that's not the case.
Sure.
It's so if you're going from 0.5% to 2% within 3 years, if more people, and that's over all the overdoses, and we know the amount of people that are dying off of heroin and other opioids, it's just going to continue to rise. And
Great.
the overdoses, the withdrawal, the deaths. Explain the withdrawal.
The withdrawals are just like heroin. Physically it's like heroin. Mentally it's worse because you're dealing with severe mania. Like when I was withdrawing from opioids, this was back in. I haven't touched an opioid since 2013.
Legit.
Oh yeah. And then the fentanyl came out, scared me straight. So I watched too many people die from that. So I was just very sick. And then within a couple of days, I started to come to. And then I would take my Suboxone, and then it was kind of off to the races. With this stuff, it's what it does to you mentally. And I can't explain it because I'm not a doctor, but all I know is it opened up this new mental illness in me. It was and I have a history of it, man. I am not all there all the time, It's a daily job.
Yes.
It's a daily job. But it was this monsoon of bipolar depression and mania all packed in one, and I just didn't know what I was doing for a long time. And that was well after the physical withdrawals.
I want to ask you something because the experience I have with my nephew, who will, get online, accuse people of all sorts of stuff, makes up these huge stories, paranoia, just total delusional. Mm-hmm. Is that what your experience was?
Delusion. That's the word I was looking for. I was living in a delusion for 2 years. My own reality.
Your own reality.
Yeah, and it was so bizarre, so insane. I literally tried to buy a house with no money. I was calling realtors, I want to buy a house.
Yeah.
And they were okay, it was just insanity. It was pure insanity. And I'm just so grateful it's over. And like you said, yes, I worked all day and I came here because for so long I was why did that happen? Why did I go through that? And it's so I can help build awareness now because it's out now. Now the line has unleashed.
Right.
And we gotta really get a hold of this thing before it's too late.
Well, and that's the issue. What I've been reading is the amount of money that it comes from this substance. So there's legislators, there's pressure from these companies to keep it in the market. But I've never heard anything that's not FDA approved that they sell that we know has opioids in it, yet nobody's doing nothing. So we need to do this.
Yeah,
we need to have this conversation.
And like, here's the thing too, like when it comes from Southeast Asia or wherever it's coming from, we also don't know what's coming in it.
Exactly.
Like, you know, there's metals in it. I was reading not too long ago that they were sending out for testing. It was coming back with metals in it, and like who knows what else
No,
is
they
going
could put
in
anything
it.
in it. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, just like we know with fentanyl, you know, in the world CIA World Fact Book, it says the number one import is fentanyl. That's incredible to me, and that's definitely can be a form of warfare.
Yeah.
Other countries sending a drug, knowing that we have addiction in this country
Right.
at a high rate, and something like this could easily have any substance when it's not being tested.
Right.
I mean, the FDA is not even looking at it.
It's very scary, and I'm seeing young kids now. You know, I just heard my sister. She's younger than me, much younger. We're about 20 years apart, but her friend was telling me her ex-boyfriend like was stealing money from her and like all this crazy stuff. 16-year-old kid, and I was like, "What is he taking?" And she said, "Kratom."
So now the young kids all know about
it's
it.
there. Yep.
And they could just buy it at the convenience store.
Yep.
Well, I think we're going to start wrapping this up.
Yeah,
So if you would like to look at that camera and just if you have a message, what you would tell people.
You know, just be careful with what I can't tell you what to do or what not to do, but especially if you're in recovery, stay away from it. And if you aren't in recovery, just be careful with what you're taking. Do your research and stay diligent.
Eric, I thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you for
I'm
coming
glad
all the
we
way
made this
down here. It's a
happen.
very important subject. If anyone needs to get a hold of Eric, we'll put something up with his email. Any questions you have about Kratom, we're going to do more of these series of these different drugs that are out there that a lot of people don't know about. Like I said, 1.6 million people using it, and only 19% of the adult population even know this exists. Eric, thank you. What's that?
Oh, yeah. I have a podcast as
yes.
well. It's called Above Expectations. No E, just Expectations. And it's out on Mondays.
Excellent. Thank you so much. All right,
Thank
brother.
you.